this schedule really shapes up for a playoff run with a 12-team playoff.
Areas that, you need to get from experience, which is just, hey, I need to make quicker decisions.
How do you define success for this team?
National championship.
What's going on, y'all? I'm Bud Elliott. This is the Cover 3 College Football Podcast. It's my summer school series. So we're going to try to talk as many college football teams as we possibly can. May, June, July. Today, Cincinnati, BearcatJournal's own Chad Brendel. Chad, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me back, bud. It's been a little while. Nice to get these summer shows in.
I like to do these chats, man. Like, I actually talk a little ball, and I love our hypotheticals on the show, but I also like, talking, getting the nitty gritty of as many teams as we possibly can. So I don't, kind of a frustrating watch last year. Like, Cincinnati was clearly improved. The record, showed it at times and other times did not. They go from 3 wins to 5 wins. What's kind of the vibe around the program, both from maybe inside and also of the fan base?
I mean, the fan base is frustrated. Obviously, you're not that far removed from playing in the college football playoff still, and you've seen your first 2 years in the Big 12 where they've ended up near the bottom of the conference. You've got a new coach. The Luke Fickell era is gone. There's a lot of uncertainty. So the fan base is frustrated. They're ready to get back to winning. Inside the program, the feeling's pretty positive. The feeling is they've got a pretty good handle on this league now. They know what the size and speed and athleticism looks like in this league. I think that, I remember that first year, teams would come out of the tunnel for warm-ups, and we're all standing on the sideline going, oh boy, one of these teams doesn't look like the other one. And they're starting, the size on the defensive line, the size and length there and offensive line, and defensive backs that are 6'3" instead of 5'11", the stuff that jumps out when you see it in person, they needed to address, and they're getting into a much better spot roster-wise, building to be a Big 12 roster.
So Brendan Sorsby returns on offense, had a nice debut. What is the next step he can take to kind of level up in this league?
Consistency is probably the biggest key. I mean, he had a really good start to the season, and then the 5-game losing streak to end of the year, he kind of fell off. And some of that you can place on, I think, a wide receiver room that probably wasn't fully up to speed on where they needed to be. So that's something to keep an eye on. But he's got great talent. He's got a good arm. The first half of the season, he really hung in the pocket and made some tough throws. The second half of the year, I think he got a little shook. He was running a little bit more frequently, not trusting what he was seeing. And some of that, like I said, potentially guys just weren't open once teams kind of figured out how to slow down the Cincinnati offense. So I think that's the biggest thing, is that progression from now the tape is out on you. You have to beat the adjustments, and he didn't do a great job of that last year. I think this offseason, that's something that has to be a focus for him, but the talent is absolutely there.
So they got hit hard at receiver in the portal, but also they hit the portal hard.
Yeah.
Net, is there a name that we should know for this receiving core, especially if you're playing like college fantasy? Is there a potential breakout star?
Yeah, keep an eye on, his name's Jeff Caldwell. He's not gonna win a lot of popularity contests, but he is an absolute freak. He is 6'5", 210 pounds. The thing about Jeff is he was at Lindenwood. And you go, Lindenwood? How does a guy like that end up at Lindenwood? He was 5'8" his senior year at high school down in Louisville. And his older brother went to Lindenwood. So he went to Lindenwood where his older brother was and stayed there until his older brother graduated last year. Hit the portal this offseason. He's 6'5", 210. He's topped out over 22 miles an hour on the radar system that they wear. And he broad jumped 11'9", which would have been the best at the NFL Combine. He is freakish. So he's going to be their outside guy. He's going to be a guy that, they hope is able to take the top off the defense, which they haven't had really the past couple of years. And then another guy that transferred from Texas A&M, Cyrus Allen, in that number 2 spot, is a name to really keep an eye on as well.
So running back wise, they do lose Corey Kiner, but Tawee Walker, Evan Pryor, Anybody else in the mix there? Is there some chance that somebody like emerges and takes the vast majority of carries?
It's going to be those two. They both had really good camps. Evan Pryor was kind of a home run guy last year. They didn't use him a lot in, standard down and distance as an every down back. He looked really good in that role in the spring. So that's a positive sign. And then Tyree Walker, if you're familiar with Wisconsin, is a bowling ball. I mean, that kid his muscles have muscles. So I think the two of them are really gonna, battle for that 1A, 1B spot. But if you're looking for a surprise name, there's a young man named Manny Covey that if you remember the Texas Tech game, Cincinnati had all of their running backs get hurt. And Manny Covey came out of nowhere and had a huge game against Texas Tech. He had 2 long pass catches, 2 touchdowns in that game. So he'll be the third guy that might give them, some of that splash opportunity that Evan Pryor gave them last year.
That's huge. Is there a guy we have not talked about yet who maybe if they finally reach their potential, or alternatively, maybe they arrive and hit their ceiling a year or two before maybe the experts expect them to, that would really change the fortunes of this offense?
It's going to be interesting because there is, a crowded room at wide receiver now, because that's what happens when you go hit the portal and have to redo a room. You bring in a bunch of guys that you think can help. Dakari Robinson is a name, a redshirt freshman that really popped in the spring. Dakari Anderson, sorry, that really popped in the spring that, might be able to get a guy that surprises some people from that slot position. And then at tight end, I think a name to keep an eye on is Gavin Grover, who is a sophomore, played special teams a bunch last year. He's going to be a guy that backing up Joe Royer. Joe Royer's, a first round talent in the NFL. So he's going to get the majority of looks from the tight end spot, but Gavin Grover is next in line, and he would be a guy that, has a chance to make an impact in this offense as well.
Awesome. All right, let's hit a break here. On the flip side, we'll talk a little Bearcat defense.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Hey guys, welcome back. Talking a little Cincinnati defense now with Chad Brendel of BearcatJournal. So Tyson Veit comes back year 2. Dude was pretty accomplished at Iowa State, obviously. And you do get some key names back in the front 7. Where can you see this defense taking a step forward in 25?
One, I think they played a lot better towards the end of the year last year. Unfortunately, the offense kind of dipped to not, people look at losing 5 in a row. They're just going to assume you didn't play well. I thought that defense really started to come along. Dante Corleone, who has been a big name at Cincinnati for 3 years now, one of the better nose tackles in the country, is going to be the focal point. But Jake Golday, a name that, Cincinnati, we talk about Jeff Caldwell on offense. They plucked out of a much smaller situation. Jake Golday, they did last year, and he played really well the back half of the year. I think he's another guy that good size, good length, good athleticism, has NFL potential. He's a guy that linebacker is going to give them a big pop, and I think familiarity. Like that Iowa State defense has been the best defense in the Big 12 for pretty much a decade now, and this will be the second year that Cincinnati has that system implemented. I think I'm really bullish on Tyson Veit and him getting that group to continue to improve defensively.
So back end, a lot of pieces gone. Do we feel better about corner or safety?
I think both have a chance to be pretty good. One, they've got an all-name team guy at corner, Bud. McDoom.
McDoom. I love
McDoom. Him and there's a young man named Logan Wilson that played safety last year. that's moving over to corner that they think him and McDoom are going to be their 1 and 2 at corner. And I think that duo has a chance to be really good. But if I had to pick, I would go safety. I mean, I think they went out and did a really, really good job in the portal, finding guys with size and physicality, guys that can play a little bit different style-wise, can help you at different spots. Taden Barnes, I think, is going to be a really good one. Trayvon Gala-Collard is going to be a guy that helps you out. Christian Harrison, Rodney Harrison's kid, if you remember that name for us old timers, is a guy that I think can be really good. Xavier Williams at safety. I also look to be an impact guy that was at UCF in Charlotte. He was a quarterback that moved to safety last year. And, he's a guy I had my eye on all spring. 6'2", 215, good physical guy that plays downhill. But he also had quite a few interceptions this spring, playing a little bit more of that coverage role down the field. So I'll go safety, but I think both positions stand a chance to be, pretty improved.
Also, and this is observation, but I felt like they were so banged up in the front seven through the last fall camp, and then the maybe the first 5-6 weeks of the year. It was just like that Pitt game. It looked like they just ran out of juice with pass rushers, and then Pitt had all day to throw the ball in that second half of the ball game. If they just get neutral, like health luck or injury luck, I mean, you should just see kind of some positive regression here from this group, right?
Well, they lost going into the season last year. They lost Micah Coleman and Jalen Hunt, who were supposed to be their 2 starting ends. And Dante Corleone was returning from blood clots in his lungs. So, it took Dante a little bit of time to get up to speed, and those 2 guys are out. Both of those guys are back. Dante's had a fully healthy offseason. So they should be much better at the point of attack. They should be better against the run. And then the question will be, can they generate pass rush? That has been missing, for 3 seasons at Cincinnati. They haven't really been able to find that one guy with the get off and the speed to get off the edge and give them a consistent pass rush. So they've addressed it. If it works out, I think they could be in a good spot defensively.
Non-conference is very manageable to go 2-1 or perhaps 3-0 with Nebraska coming to town, Bowling Green coming to town, and Northwestern State as well, right?
Nebraska's in Kansas City.
Oh, it's a neutral. Apologies.
So, it was at Cincinnati, and then the COVID, they were supposed to play at Nebraska. That contract got messed up. Then they were going to play in Indianapolis. Then the folks at Arrowhead came in and say, we'll pay you $2 million more than the folks in Indianapolis were going to pay you if you want to play here. Cincinnati said, well, revenue share, we're going to need some money. We'll take that $2 million.
Yeah.
It's going to be a heavy Nebraska crowd. Let's not kid ourselves, but it is an opportunity to open the season Thursday night, Labor Day weekend, a chance to get a really nice win at a neutral site over a Nebraska team. It kind of reminds me, Bud, you may remember this, the second year of Luke Fickell.
Okay.
They went to the Rose Bowl and opened up the season against Chip Kelly and UCLA at the Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That was the coming out party for Luke Fickell's era of Cincinnati football. They have a chance to do this again against Nebraska under Scott Satterfield.
No doubt about it. In the conference, I think I generally like how the road trips play out for them. You avoid like the super hot early season Texas trip. You don't have to go to the desert when it's scorching hot. Like you get Arizona late in the year. You do have to go to Utah, which is always a bear, but you get BYU at home, which is more winnable. Like weather-wise and travel-wise, this seems like fairly manageable for them. How would you define success for Cincinnati in 2025?
So last year, the kind of thought process was got to get to a bowl game. And they finished 1 short. They couldn't get over the finish line in any of those last 5 games to get to a bowl game. I don't think 6-6 is going to appease many people here at Cincinnati. So I think you need to get to 7. You have 7 home games. You need to. One of the biggest problems they've had so far under Satterfield, Bud, is they haven't won enough at home. They haven't protected home turf at Nippert Stadium. They got to get back to that. That is one of the best environments in all of college football. When you get 7 home games, you got to win 5 of them, 5 or 6 of them at least. And then you pick up a road win or 2, and now you're at 7, 8 wins. I think they need to get to 7 to really, make the fan base feel like momentum is on their side and they're building something. Even if they make a bowl at 6-6, I think there's going to be grumbling because I just think it's going to feel like they're treading water and not, moving things forward.
For sure. Chad, I really enjoyed this, man. I feel like I learned a lot. I'm fairly positive on this team this year. I know we'll be reading all your coverage of Bearcat Journal and following you as well.
Appreciate it, bud. Thanks for having me.